If you were 30 years old again and had your first million in the bank, how would you invest it, assuming you're not a full-time investor, you have another full-time job, you can cover your expenses with other savings for about 18 months, no dependents?
Well, I'll be very simple. Under the conditions you name, I'd probably have it all in a very low-cost index fund. Somebody I knew was reliable, and it'd probably be, might be Vanguard, somebody where the cost was low. And because you postulated that you're not going to become a professional investor, I would recognize the fact that I'm an amateur investor. And I would feel that unless bought during a strong bull market, which this hasn't been, I would feel that that was going to outperform to a degree bonds under current conditions over a long period of time, and then I'd forget it and go back to work. And in the end, why should you expect? I mean, you'll get a very perfectly decent return over a 30 or 40 year period by doing what I suggest. And why should you expect more than that when you don't bring anything to the party? The salesman will tell you that you'll get it, but you won't. You will not get that advice from anybody because nobody gets paid to give you that advice. And so you will have all kinds of people telling you how much better they can do for you than that, and how if you just give them a wrap fee or give them commissions or whatever it may be, that they will do better, but they won't do better. On average, 1,000 other people like you do the same thing. That group of 1,000 will do worse if they listen to the people that make pitches at them. And Charlie?
Yeah, it's in the nature of things that you aren't going to have a whole lot of screamingly successful professional investors. You've got a great horde of professionals taking croupiers' profits out of the system, most of them by pretending to be professional investors. And that is in the nature of things too. But if you don't have any rational prospects of being a very skilled professional investor, well, of course you should compromise on some simple thing like an index fund. I would give you another word of warning. Do not judge stockbrokers generally by the ones you meet at this meeting. We attract some of the most honorable, intelligent stockbrokers in the world. They are not representative of the class.
Well, I went to work for Ben Graham when I was 24. I only worked for him for less than 2 years. But I jumped out of bed every day in the morning. I was excited about what I was going to do. I was learning things. I was with a man I admired. I never asked my salary when I took that job. I moved to New York City and found out what my salary was when I got the check. But that's the way to, and I can't prescribe that for you. But I can tell you that if you're going through the motions in life, you're doing something. Now, obviously, if you need the job you have and you can't make a change, and your kids have to eat and all of that, you deal with realities like that. But when you're in a position to make choices, I always tell the kids that come visit me, I tell them, go to work for an organization you admire or an individual you admire. That means that many of them become self-employed, but but the idea, you can't get a bad result. So I was very lucky in that I found my passion early. I mean, that's not easy. That takes some luck. It just so happened my dad was in a business, had a very small office, and he had a bunch of books down there. And when I would go down there on Saturday or after school, I would start reading those books, and it turned me on. And this was before Playboy actually existed. And so, that was just plain lucky. If he'd been a minister, I'm not so sure I would have gotten quite as enthused about visiting the office. Well, I would choose what I do because I have fun at it. I'm reasonably good at it. I meet a lot of interesting people through it. No heavy lifting. It fits me. But that's not advice for you. I mean, you have to find out what's your passion in life. It's a terrible mistake to kind of sleepwalk through your life, because unless Shirley MacLaine's right, it's the only one you're going to have. And really, from the moment we get up to when we go to bed at night, we get to do all kinds of things. We get this associating with wonderful people is about as good as it gets. And we're biased, obviously, but we think we live in the best country in the world, and had all kinds of good things. I mean, just imagine. Well, we could have stayed in my grandfather's grocery store and it would have been hell. I mean, how could you be sour about life, being blessed in so many ways? And then the amazing thing is that when Charlie's 84, I'm 77, and we've slowed down, I'm sure, in a lot of ways, but we pretend we haven't, and it doesn't seem to bother us. We get along fine. Oh, basically, if Charlie and I can't have a decent mental attitude, who can? I mean, we get to do what we love doing every day. We do it with people that are not only cheerful about it and like us, but they do their jobs extraordinarily well. They like their jobs too. Great partners, great managers, great families. There's just no reason to look at any minuses in life. And the rest of the time, I am doing I'm doing whatever I love day by day by day by day, and I do it, in air-conditioned offices and with all kinds of help. And we're forced to do virtually nothing we don't want to do. I have a trainer that comes 3 times a week. I think she's probably here, and she may think I'm a little begrudging in that particular activity, but that's only 45 minutes 3 times a week, and to focus on that, it would be crazy. So, we really do count our blessings because they've been many, and they continue to come forth, and we'll enjoy it as long as we can. There's not much more to it than that. Just be sure you get the right spouse. That's enormously important. But it's enormously important who you marry. I mean, it's a huge decision, and if you're lucky in a couple of things like that, as Charlie says, the problem, is that we talk about that fellow that spent 20 years looking for the perfect woman, and then he found her, and unfortunately she was looking for the perfect man. So you may have a problem in that respect. You're going to have a happy life, and you're going to behave better as you go along. I mean, it's a lot easier to behave well when things are going your way and you're enjoying your work, and you're thinking about things every day that are the kind of things you like to think about. And Charlie has a lot better advice than I have on that. Go to it.
Well, of course, you'll do better if you develop a passion for something in which you have a considerable aptitude. I think if Warren had gone into the ballet, nobody would have ever heard of him.
Well, I think they'd have heard of me, just in a different way, Charlie. Well, the chances are, if you find something that turns you on, you probably do have some talent for it, though. I mean, I don't think I could have gotten turned on by ballet.
Yeah.